Hello, hello, hello. It's Lauren Young Durbin. You are here for the Tuesday Taiki Talk. It's a little later today because life happened and appointments got moved around. So I still wanted to keep it on Tuesday, so still the Tuesday Taiki Talk, but today's at 3, obviously, because it's around 3 o'clock. So today we're going to talk about something that is particularly close to my heart, um, and something I am guilty of doing, and that is being the strong one. Whether that's in your family, um, whether that's in your family or your friend group, and all odds, and it's probably in all your life, all facets of your life, family, friends, whatever. I know I am personally very, very guilty of that. Not only am I the strong one, and I just come from a family of strong women, so it doesn't just apply to me. Um, we're the ones that people turn to when they need something. They need advice, they need support, they need encouragement, whatever. So we tend to take on a lot of things, and we don't regret taking on those things. There's no regret there. It's just it can be overwhelming. And that's probably the best word is, and it can wear you down when you are taking on other people's things in addition to whatever you have going on, your job, the family, friends, whatever, house, dog, whatever. And so that's what I talk about in this week's blog that you can see. You can read it in its entirety on taikicoaching.com. And you can also sign up for the weekly email, which is awesome. And I'm super excited about it because I've added a section about what's going on with me and what I'm reading, what I'm watching. I spend a lot of time reading books, letters. I've gotten into TikTok. I also spend a lot of time watching TV too. And a lot. Uh, Additionally, some not admin, but I just wanted to let you guys know that we have new services here at Taiki. We have resume and LinkedIn writing services, and I'm now offering one-off calls. So it's a 1 hour call where we talk about one specific issue. So don't make an appointment like I want to talk about career change, because that's what aspect of career change, because that's huge. That's a huge topic in of itself. And so I'm very excited about that. It's I love doing those things because I'm really big into career narratives, and though your career narrative really should be amplified and promoted through your resume and reflected in your resume and LinkedIn profile. So I'm very excited to offer those services. If you want to know more about it, you can email support@taikicoaching.com. You can go to taikicoaching.com, and let me know if you're interested. You can message me here, direct message me in LinkedIn if you're interested. And so back to this week's topic. I am going to give you a extreme version of being the strong one. And quite honestly, one that I kind of regret now. So I've talked a bit about I had a very difficult post-birth experience. I developed eclampsia. I ended up being put in a coma twice, on life support twice. Almost died, just like for real, almost died. It's not hyperbole. When I say literally, it does mean literally, and it's gruesome. Babies were born at 34 weeks. Thankfully, that they were healthy, other than being born a little early. They spent some time in the NICU. Anyways, I was in a coma for about a week, um, on a ventilator and all that stuff. So I woke up. I remember it was Friday. I woke up on a Friday, and when my husband came into the room, and I've been awake for a couple hours. They had taken the breathing tube out, and he came in and he was like, I thought I lost you. We didn't know what was going on. We don't know what happened. We just know that you were at death's door. And my vocal cords were and throat were little because of the breathing tube. Um, and I said in a very scratchy voice, I said, "I don't know if you understand." um, and when I repeated that story, it's one of my favorite stories. My friends were like, "Yeah, you're a fighter. Like, why are you going down like that?" And so I just was determined to get out of the ICU because and I'm not a doctor, but I think that my head hadn't caught up with my body in terms of how bad off I was. So for me, I went in to have these babies and then I woke up in this bed. For everyone else, all this other stuff happened. Everyone knows like I had surgeries, I was in a coma, I had breathing, all this. But I didn't know that. My head hadn't registered that yet. So I was like, ready. I just want to get out of here. I just want to get out of the ICU. And man, I am stubborn, determined, however you want to. And I did. I got out as soon as I could. I passed the test, and it was just willpower. Um, and then I got moved down to the maternity wing and for recovery. And once again, I battled. That's where I spent my birthday. I battled, and now, okay, now I'm going to get out. And looking back, that was so dumb. That was dumb. That was dumb, 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 dumb. Because I needed that time. I needed that support for myself and my body to actually recover. I just didn't realize it because I didn't realize it. My brain was all messed up then. There's a lot going on. So that's an extreme example of being the strong one and how it doesn't work in your favor. Um, and then after that, I kept thinking I can still do something. I had a C-section, so it was like, some of the things, it was a little bit difficult and I was a little pain and stuff. I was like, oh, I can do it, I can do it. And then finally I broke down one day and I called my mom. I was just tears, crying. And even in that conversation, I started out not crying. So I was like crying, crying, crying. And she was like, what's wrong? And I can't do this. I'm like getting sleep. If I had twin newborns in the house. They pretty much one came home with me. Um, when I came home, and the other one, Michael came home 4 days later, 4 or 5 days later. Um, so I was still trying to do it all. I was like, I was in a coma a week, 2 weeks ago. Why in the hell did I think that I'll be able to physically, much less emotionally and mentally, just bare bones physically be able to take care of two newborns? That was insane. And my husband had to go back to work and it was stupid. And I realize that now looking back, but that's a more extreme example of how um, being the strong one gets real when being the strong one gets real. But one of the things I think a lot of us who have this, I was going to say guilty of this, isn't really a guilt thing necessarily. I'm looking over here to see if I have any comments or questions or anything. I don't see anything. Um, it's like I feel like we can't be vulnerable. We can't because we see it as a weakness, like just crying as a weakness, saying we can't do something, sometimes saying we don't know something. I personally don't have any problem telling someone I don't know. I'll look it up, I'll find the answer for you, but I just don't know. But that's something that a lot of people face when they're faced with being the strong one. And it at some point it becomes too much. That's just real. I like taking a deep breath. It's not an easy conversation to have because again, I have this. I am the strong one. It's hard for me to admit. I'm not gonna tear up. Like I am tearing because I mean type A. I'm gonna say I'm accomplished. I set goals for myself, and when I don't meet those goals, for whatever reason, any reason, being in a coma, almost dying, um, it's upsetting to me, and asking for help is difficult because sometimes I'm just so discombobulated that I can't ask for help because I don't know where to begin. I have you have so many things going on that, speaking for myself, you have so many things going on that when someone actually asks you, "What can I do to help?" You're just like, "I don't know. I don't know." So sometimes it's easier to say nothing, either literally saying nothing like over text or something, or to tell the person nothing because you just don't know where to start. And sometimes that's because you think that someone else can't do it, maybe that you think they can't do it as well as you, uh, which may or may not be the case, but or you just don't know how to start. So, like, I often don't know where to start. I've become a master delegator. I've become much better at it. And one of the ways you combat um, the downsides of being in the strong one is to learn how to delegate because you cannot and you should not be doing everything yourself. You just can't do it. You're one person. There's that saying, you can do everything, but you can do anything, but you can't do everything. Certainly not at once. So one of the ways to combat it is to be a great delegator. Look at what's on your plate and see what you have to do, like what you personally have to do, as opposed to something you can get someone else to do. Even if you think they don't do it as well as you do, so what? Let them do it. Get that help. Have that taken off your plate. Since I've been doing that, I found it to be so much helpful. Um, it's so helpful, not so much, yeah. I found it to be so helpful because I I can't do it all, and when I try to do it all, wasn't sleeping, it was just horrible. So, learn to delegate. Lean on your existing support system and expand it if you can. I have an amazing support system that really came through when I was in the hospital and afterwards, and, I feel so fortunate to have in my life. So, most people have a support system. Um, you may not think of them as a support system, and you may be hesitant to ask for help, but sometimes the asking for help is just like, "Hey, I need to vent. Can we, come over, or I come over, I'll bring some wine or cheesecake." Apparently thinking about Golden Girls. But so depend on lean on your support system. Uh, and you are partly part of someone's support system. And yes, I talk about being a strong one and putting things on, but that's just relationships. Relationships are give and take. And sometimes you are going to be the strong one. You are going to be the support system just as much as someone else is going to listen to you and support you the best they can. So, those are actually my really big advice for that. You can make sure the other thing you can make sure do there's 2 things actually. Set boundaries for yourself and for others, because sometimes you just have to say, "Look, I have to do this and I can't do this." And you have to remind yourself as much as you have to remind other people, because it's very easy to say yes and then freak out because you're trying to figure out how to make it work. The last thing is something that I'm constantly preaching. You probably hear me say it almost every week, and I'm going to keep saying it because it keeps being true. Self care, self compassion, and self grace. Lord, if you have to have that, it's like paraphrase RuPaul. If you can't love yourself, how in the hell are you gonna love somebody else? Can I get an amen? In this case, if you don't take care of yourself, how the hell are you gonna take care of anybody else? Amen. So you have to take care of yourself in order to take care of others, because let's be honest, we're not gonna stop being the strong ones. That's not who we are. Being the strong ones, that's who we are. It's innate to our personalities. And while it can be the negative aspects of that can be managed, in all likelihood, these things are going to disappear. So best thing you can do is manage it. You delegate. you lean on your support system, you set boundaries for yourself and for others, and you practice self-care, self-compassion, and self-grace. Because doing all those four things will make your life so much better. And I'll be for real for you, to you, with you. Yes, it's hard. It is so hard. It literally took me over a year to get to the point where I can like fully delegate and feel comfortable doing it. It's hard. Start with something that's easy. Start with some household chore, taking the trash out or dishes or cooking or something. Start with something easy and then it'll become more natural and you can start letting go more things. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you, oh, it's easy, just start delegating. It's hard. Make a list. I know you have a to-do list. No, you probably have 2 or 3 to-do lists, 4 or 5. I don't know, probably a whole notebook of to-do lists. Look at your list and see what you can get someone else to do. Or even better, what doesn't have to be done at all. Maybe you're doing something out of habit or you just grew up doing it. So you're like, oh, so, but you look at it and you're like, I don't need to do this. So look at your list, your multiple lists most likely, and look at see what doesn't have to be done at all. Cross that off your list, and then look at what's left and see what you can delegate to others, and then start delegating. That's and here's the thing. For those of you who live by yourself, I did for most of my life till a couple of years ago, you can still do this. You can, for instance, you can have food delivery or for a while, what I did is I had, 'cause I worked really long hours, I had, cooked meals, fresh pre-cooked meals, and so I would have them delivered daily or not daily, weekly, and then I would just pick them up because then I don't have to worry about lunch at work, and it's one less thing I have to think about. Um, or even if it's your outfit, have a uniform of some sort. You know, maybe you were always wear black pants or a black skirt or whatever, and just change the color of your shirt. Whatever it does, whatever you need to do to cut down on the decisions and things that you have to do, the better. Because you're always going to be the strong one, but you don't have to be the only one to do things. Um, so that's it for Taiki Talk this week. Again, I'd love for you to join me next week for next week's Taiki Talk. Can't remember what the subject is, but it'll be up. We'll tell you what the subject is. You can also sign up. I had it right first time. Sign up for my weekly newsletter at taikicoaching.com. I I'm revamping it. It's all kinds of good stuff that you only will get in the newsletter. So be sure to sign up for the newsletter if you're watching us and share with your friends. Tell them to sign up too. So I'm super excited. And then finally, I'm super excited about the new services, and added standalone resume and LinkedIn writing services, as well as having one-off calls to talk to people about to help them and coach them through one specific issue. So I'll see you guys next week and I'll talk to you then. Bye.